Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. So just got the news about hexo dilution after making the video. So that's important to note. We now have two major companies in major bull runs, ACB and HEXO, who have chosen to release this dilution news into strength. So just like bulls want to be selling into strength, these companies are trying to release potentially short-term negative impact news into strength as well. So just be aware that this is occurring, and it's certainly going to happen to other companies as well. Hello, Canadian MJ friends. Hope you're doing well. Lots of names to look at today. We're going to look at the major four names. Then we got some mid-tier names, Hexo, TRST, and OGI. Then we'll look at IAN, VFF, LHS, PCLO, which is a little guy, GGB, and TGOD. So normally when we have the US close and Canada open, the general pattern has been weakness and, small consolidation. Today is probably the most memorable day for me in terms of the bulls doing their own thing while the US is closed. Certainly a little bit less volume on some of these names, but also some notable bullish action on some of these names. And it's nice to see individual stocks doing individual things. The correlations are not as strong as they used to be, so that's why we can have some of the major names up significantly while other major names are in the red a few percentage points. So APH out of the major names stood out the most today, and with the past 2 days, just the run that we've seen on the hourly time frame, we're obviously very, very overextended, where we've gone about 20%, more than 20% on this hourly time frame with very little consolidation. So a lot of people are anticipating that this is a run-up leading into an offer from GGB, perhaps. That is speculation, and we saw speculation on ACB with its run-up that resulted in dilution news, and so far a 3-day big pullback from that news. So just be aware, obviously, that nothing is a sure thing. This is what people are speculating and thinking what this big bull move and the volume behind it is indicating. But we saw the consolidation. We knew that it wasn't any red flags. There was no increasing bear volume. We still were holding some support levels. And now the increasing bull volume and close near the highs 2 days in a row has us looking towards this gap fill of 1030. So the gap is looking to fill. Another 24 cents would do it. And after 1030, we're looking up at 1078 as the next resistance level. Keeping in mind, the hourly last consolidation that we saw for a higher low was down at 840. So we are very due for healthy hourly consolidation. My personal opinion, just in terms of what's most likely to happen, when you see the US closed and Canada open like this, and you see a run of 13% or so, I would anticipate that we're likely to see APHA on the Canadian side of things open a bit lower tomorrow, and obviously the US side of things with the big gap up open. I would be very surprised to see APHA on the Canadian side of things without news. Obviously news would change that, but if they don't have news, seeing a gap up open on the Canadian side of things would mean, that the US side of things is going to see a 15% higher open, which again is a less likely scenario in my opinion. So just be aware that that little balancing act while we see the US side of things catch up in the MJ markets might lead to a bit of profit taking. The US holders who did not have a chance to take any profit after a 15% move today might be a bit more inclined to do so tomorrow morning. Cron was another bull for the major names here. The daily time frame hitting all-time highs in Canada yet again, Friday, and now today. You can see the significant volume drop-off without the US trading here, but obviously the bulls are looking great at those all-time highs. Nothing to worry about when you are a blue sky bull. Hourly higher lows a little bit more nearby, recently established, I should say, 2017 and then down to 1933. So bulls had a nice little day here. Pretty tight the second half of trading, but bulls holding on is the bottom line. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out to the daily chart, we look for healthy daily consolidation and a higher low to form compared to 1698 to keep the daily chart in an uptrend. So those are the two stronger of the tier 1 names. WED consolidation day today, but again, no red flags. It's very healthy consolidation at this point. 53.74 is the support level on the daily. Anything above that keeps the daily uptrend intact. And when we look at the 4-hour time frame, we have to be cautious of the head and shoulders pattern if this were to develop, where we have the left shoulder, this is the head. If we pull back and hold this support of 53.74, see a bounce attempt, we're unable to get to new higher highs over 59.95, and then we lose the 4-hour uptrend. That would be an indication that daily consolidation is coming. So that's something that we're keeping an eye out for. The first question is, can the bulls hold 53.74 on this pullback? And if they can, the next question is, can we see continuation and break $60 with follow through, or are we going to see this pattern tighten up, leading to potential further daily consolidation? So again, same thing here, no red flags on this pullback at this point. Volume dropping off considerably today and just a healthy pullback so far. ACB still feeling the effect of that potential dilution news. Daily inside bar, if we break 830 tomorrow, we look at 821, the low of the reaction. If we break bull 869, that's the hourly trend change telling us that our daily higher low is established at 821. So key resistance of 869 and then followed by 907 after that. And if we look at the hourly time frame for more details, we can see we're leveling out. Have to see the bull break of 869, and actually right after it is 878 resistance. So breaking those two levels and our daily higher low will be established, and then we'll look for a bounce and a lower high to form compared to the $10 psychological resistance level. Now on to some of the tier 2 names that have been very strong. HEXO, look at this hourly chart, very strong. Daily chart, big time follow through. Have to be a bit cautious because we've seen 2 gap ups in a row and we've run very significantly, pretty much a 25-28% run in just the last 4 days. So obviously the bulls are in full control. The bull flag was confirmed, and not looking back for those bulls at this point. The break of 720 was a good sign. After 720, we highlighted the lack of any resistance nearby, and the bulls are enjoying that now with next resistance 772. If we get the gap up open tomorrow after the strong close today, that's a bearish reversal 3 gap up pattern that is an indication of potential consolidation. And we just recently saw the 3 gap up pattern with regards to TRUL. And let's just look at that real quick. But TRUL saw a significant pullback today. So we had the gap up, first gap up, second gap up, third gap up, and then a pretty big pullback today. So just being aware that, HEXO bulls are certainly getting overextended. The hourly uptrend to be watching. And next, first higher low, I would say 715 is the first support level I'm watching. And if we can consolidate and hold 715, we'll keep the hourly uptrend intact. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we look for healthy daily consolidation to establish just another higher low. So HEXO is establishing itself as probably the lead name in the tier 2 category. And for me personally, I'm sticking TRST, OGI, and HEXO in the Canadian tier 2 group. So TRST, daily bull break as well. We had some clear little resistances. We were looking at the hourly time frame with lower highs that broke. The bull signal was 846 breaking. And when you can break all 3 resistance levels on 1 hourly candlestick, you know you got follow through. If we break 846 and we can't break 851 and we putter out and start to consolidate, that's not a very forceful break. But if you do it all with 1 candlestick and break all 3 of those levels and then get follow through, obviously that's a great sign. This is another name where the last hourly support is 820. So we've run about 10% without consolidating on the hourly chart. So just being aware of that fact. And as far as the next resistance level to be watching, it's 9 psychological and then 946 after it. And we are clearly changing the trend. The bull cross of these exponential moving averages is a good sign for bulls, especially with the follow through. So in the video, a week or 2 ago, we were talking about how these weekly moves, it's great for the bulls. The most important thing for me is, can we consolidate on the daily, establish daily higher lows, and then see continuation? And on a lot of these names, that's exactly what we're seeing, which is exactly the confidence that the bulls wanted to see, and that's what we're getting. Keeping in mind, for the entire sector at this point, we're still dependent on watching the S&P 500, which has yet to consolidate on the weekly time frame. So again, we're seeing this sector acting in the most bullish market scenario right now, just like it was the most bullish market scenario leading into the first day of sales. The S&P 500 was up at the all-time highs. So just being aware that when the S&P 500 weekly consolidates, that we're not going to see names run this significantly, in my opinion, unless, of course, it's just SPY healthy consolidation before continuation and a weekly trend change. We already did that. OGI. OGI is on watch because, again, look at HEXO, healthy consolidation into increasing bull volume continuation. TRST, sideways consolidation into continuation. OGI, sideways consolidation. We don't have the continuation yet. So we're watching to see if it's going to be a potential laggard for the tier 2 names. And if it is not, and if we do not see continuation, it will stand out and say, all right, HEXO and TRST are stronger on their charts because OGI did not get this follow through. We do have a nice little higher low, higher high already, but after this kind of consolidation, obviously the bulls want to see that continuation. 637 and 645 are our two resistances, with 656 the top of the move at this point. Short term, if we break 620, the odds of that continuation move will decrease a little bit, as it'll be clear further consolidation is coming and we'll need to establish a new daily support level rather than this sideways level of 620 support currently holding. IAN, another one that I'm keeping an eye on just because we have not seen a continuation move with much follow through. We had key resistance here at 648, which did not break on IAN, and we have to see increasing bull volume. That's another thing that we're missing. Again, just to go back to our perfect examples on what the bulls want to see, increasing bull volume on the breakout, TRST, not really noticeable bull volume, but what you want to see for IAN is a solid bull volume day like we saw on the 14th, 300,000 shares, nice solid green candlestick. We're going to have to see that kind of volume or better to see a meaningful bull break over 648 to try and get follow through from this tightening pattern right now, as we have not been able to break the high of early December, where the vast majority of these names have broken that high of early December. VFF is responding well to news of an uplisting filing for the NASDAQ. They're trying to get on the NASDAQ. So we have a clear break of the lower highs here. The gap up open and break of 544 was the first bull signal. Breaking 576 was another bull signal. We're now looking at resistance of 641 and 665 as the next two levels. Hourly consolidation near the end of the day, inside bar formed. So if we look at the 15-minute, just a little healthy pullback at this point. 606 is key short-term support. If we break 606 tomorrow, we'll say, all right, hourly consolidation is underway, and we're going to look for an hourly higher low to form. And in terms of resistance, if we cannot break 641, that's when we'll look for potential profit taking after such a big day today. But also, again, another name worth watching with this bull volume and response to news kicking up the momentum for the bulls a bit. LHS, this was an example of a big dump today. It stood out as a lead bear. Look at the amount of volume on the daily chart today. Highest volume we've seen in about a month. And it dumped and it was down big time. But the bulls very aggressively bought this dip. So the first thing I want to see there is, what does the volume look like? What's the bear volume look like compared to the bull volume? And I can see that the bear volume occurred in 1 hourly candlestick. So now I want to know, how long was that pullback actually in play? And I'm looking at about a 20-30 minute pullback. Look at the bear volume on the first couple red candlesticks, and then look at the bull volume after the low of the day was hit. And the bull volume is more notable than the volume on the way down. And then we look at the end of the day volume, and that's a solid uptick as well. So that's a perfect bounce and recovery. And from the low of the day to the high where we closed, we're looking at a 20+% bounce. So very significant. And we now have our higher low, in my opinion. So 72 is the low, top at 113, higher low at 81, double top 114, higher low at 88. And now these bulls are looking like they want to test 114 tomorrow. And if they can keep up any kind of volume like we just saw, that's going to be a good sign for these bulls. Very strong close, all about 114 with 118 as a little gap fill after that level breaks. But after that, a lack of resistance until the 140s. So keep an eye on this 114 level. Let's see if the LHS bulls can break this double top this week. GGB, keeping an eye on it for the potential of the news of a deal offering to buy out APHA. So that's what we're keeping an eye on. And also we want to keep an eye on it because it's so close to all-time highs. Healthy daily higher low pattern. We just established a higher low at 539 and we closed near the high of the day. And now bulls have their sights set on 640, that all-time high. So the range is 640 to 539. And the bulls are going to try and follow through to make their way towards that resistance. Here's the hourly trend change. We had the low, high of the bounce at 575, higher low at 550, and the bull break of 575 was the hourly trend change signal that told us the daily higher low had been established at that point. So hourly trend change telling us consolidation is done and the bulls are now making their way back up to test that recent resistance. T-God also had a close at the high of the day. We need an hourly trend change here to give us the indication that the daily higher low has been established. And at this point, we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and just barely getting this higher high over 288. It happened right at the end of the day, so we do want to see more follow through tomorrow. Bulls want to make their way up to the upper 290s to convincingly change this hourly trend and tell us that the daily higher low has been established now at 277. And if that's the case, we'll pretty much just be looking at the high of every previous day for a resistance level as we make our way back up towards the recent high of 319. So just need a little bit more follow through because, again, that bull break on the hourly happened at the end of the day, and we want to see that bull break have follow through behind it tomorrow morning. PCLO is a low cap recent traded name here, and this is one that some of our members were highlighting for fundamental reasons that it was undervalued. So obviously we're the chart guys. We normally do charts and technical analysis, but the reason that the majority, or I shouldn't say the majority, the reason that a lot of people in our chat room were trading PCLO today is because one of our members was sharing how undervalued it is comparative to what, ACB and APHA have been paying for their Latin American assets. PCLO, the valuation was much cheaper. And obviously on a move like today where you go 50%, that valuation picks up very significantly. Their market cap has gone up 50% today. So just be aware that this name is very thinly traded. Obviously, to go 50% in one day, that has to be the case. It's blue sky breakout, so we know hype can run things. The last hourly higher low was 770. This is the kind of name you want to be very cautious on because the risk to reward at these levels is certainly a lot less than it was, a lot less favorable for bulls than it was just yesterday. So we have to be cautious because when we top out and see some daily consolidation, we're going to pull back 15% very quickly. And the last thing you want to be doing is buying the top and holding on to that position. But it is definitely one that we're going to be watching to see, does this market cap catch up to be more in line with the valuations of its peers? So that's one, if you're interested in it, just to check into the fundamentals, check into the numbers yourself, and we'll see if the bulls can keep up this rally and break 948 tomorrow first thing to look for some follow through. It's not dual listed at this point. It's only traded on the CSE with PCLO. So I appreciate you all watching. I hope you had a good day. Again, surprising day for the bulls. So congrats there. And we'll see how the balancing act goes tomorrow morning with the US names catching up, so to speak, having not traded today. Thanks again. Do some good things out there. We'll see you tomorrow after the close. And we'll wrap it up here with a video of some bird feeding. I like feeding birds, and I appreciate these crows. You'll hear them in the background, and then they came and found the food. But crows played a significant role when I was on the farm with alerting me to when hawks were in the area coming after the chickens. They have their nests nearby, and they always form little gangs, and they're very loud and vocal, and they will chase off hawks. So if you have chickens or little animals, things like that, having crows living nearby is a big time advantage because I would always hear the crows long before I would see any hawks nearby. So this is my version of a bird feeder.